Hey guys, Coach Mark here with you today. I'm going to go ahead and show you something about your posture that's going to make or break your punching ability. A lot of times you have something in physical fitness, what we call an anterior or posterior pelvic tilt. What that means simply is that you notice some people, especially wrestlers, kickboxers, people that have shorter hip flexors, actually as you lift your knee repetitively, it shortens your muscle and pulls it to make it tighter. So what happens is you get this type of a posture, which is actually not bad, but you want to be neutral. That's an anterior or posterior pelvic tilt. The posterior pelvic tilt is you've seen people who have this sway in their back. I have it a little bit myself, and it's a sway where it has a bend, there's a curvature to the spine. If you notice, most of your Olympic athletes that are lifting weights, what they'll do is they flatten the spine out by rolling their hips underneath them. Classic example is to watch Wanderlei Silva. As he's throwing his strikes, you'll notice that his hips are underneath his body, which create a really powerful strike. So how does that translate for us? Here's a little trick that I'd like you to do. As a personal trainer, before I get people to lift weights, what I'll have them do is to put their hands on their hips, do an anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. Go as far forward as you can and as far back as you can, and settle somewhere in the middle between the two. So that way, as you're training your strikes, you keep your hips squared up underneath you. And what this does is it allows you to have more postural stability and more structural integrity. So as you're throwing your strikes, you have a very solid base to throw from. Notice the difference. You will see people in the UFC knock people out that have a sway back. They're like this and they'll hit hard. That's fine. But if they learn this simple little trick, which is to keep the hips underneath them, their strikes will become much more powerful. It also engages the abdominal muscles, so as you're throwing, you're compacting your abs. When you train, I suggest that you keep the bob a little bit higher than what your head level is, so you're throwing your strikes upward. As you're throwing your strikes upward, you put a little bit more stress on the shoulders. Not that you want to punch with your shoulders, but you definitely want to get a good workout with your shoulders. If you're doing it, you might as well get the added benefit. So go ahead and try it, guys. As you're throwing your hand techniques, keep the hips underneath you and notice your power difference. It's going to be amazing. Thanks. Talk soon.